Today, let's talk about a quiet but incredibly powerful symbol of hope, one that seems to arrive just when we need it the most. We're talking about the primrose. I mean, you know that feeling, right? When things just feel cold, uncertain, and it seems like there's no way anything new could possibly begin. Well, it turns out it's in those exact moments that nature gives us a guide, a kind of living parable, all wrapped up in a small flower. So the name itself, primrose, is pretty cool. It comes from the Latin prima rosa, which means first rose. Now, even though it's not actually a rose, the name itself is like this bold declaration. It's a herald of what's coming. It speaks of initiation, and it represents a very specific kind of hope. It's not a loud, flashy hope, but a gentle, steady unfolding of a promise that's just around the corner. Okay, so the first big lesson from this flower is all about its incredible timing. It's really about its courage to bloom right in the middle of the cold. I mean, what's so amazing about the primrose is when it shows up. It's one of the very first flowers to appear, often while there's still a real chill in the air. It doesn't wait around for some perfect sunny spring day. Nope, it acts on just a subtle shift, a mere hint of more light. Think about that for a second. Most of the natural world, and let's be honest, most of us, we wait for certainty, don't we? We wait for those ideal conditions, for a big, clear sign telling us it's safe to move forward. But not the primrose. It steps out when things are still uncertain. It doesn't act on proof. It blooms in faith. And wow, what a profound spiritual lesson that is for our own winter seasons. And this idea gets even deeper when you actually look at the flower itself, because its physical form, its very structure, has something to teach us. If you look closely, the petals are so simple and open. There's this accessibility to them. They're not intricate or closed off. They don't intimidate. They invite you in. And a lot of them have this beautiful, bright eye right at the center. It almost looks like a tiny, quiet flame, doesn't it? It just draws your attention inward. So you have to ask yourself, what is this design pointing us toward? Why this central point of focus? Well, it's a perfect picture of how truth often works. That central eye is a symbol, calling us away from all the noise and distractions on the edges, inviting us to focus on what is deeper, more centered, and what's truly essential. All right, next up, let's talk about where it grows, because its habitat teaches us about finding strength in life's middle ground. See, the primrose doesn't thrive in the extremes, not in the harsh, demanding intensity of full sun, and not in complete, stagnant darkness. It flourishes right here, in these in-between spaces, places like partial shade or the edges of a woodland. And isn't that where so much of our own lives are lived? In those transitional spaces, between certainty and doubt, between a trial and the breakthrough? The crucial point here is that these in-between places aren't empty. They are the fertile ground where real transformation happens. And all of this brings us to our final lesson from the primrose. It's a call to be more watchful, to see the world on a much deeper level. It's pretty interesting. Historically, some traditions even believed this little flower could open doors to hidden realms in a deeper understanding. And whether you take that literally or just symbolically, it points to a fascinating idea. It's really calling us to be spiritually attentive. Just as the primrose senses that very first, super subtle shift of the seasons, it invites us to notice the quiet movements of hope and new beginnings in our own lives, long before they become big and obvious to the rest of the world. So, if we put all of this together, if this living parable could actually speak to us directly, what do you think it would say? Well, I think the first thing it would tell us is this. Do not wait for perfect conditions to begin. You just don't need a guarantee of sunshine and warmth to take that first step. And then it would add this powerful truth. Even the smallest light is enough to start blooming. That tiny flicker of hope, that slight change in perspective, that is enough. And that's what your own first blooms might look like. They aren't always grand gestures. Sometimes it's just a softened heart, a new way of seeing a problem, or just that quiet internal stirring of hope. These small things are the real evidence that a new season has already begun within you. So I'll just leave you with this question to reflect on. Look closely at your own inner landscape, even if it still feels like winter. What is the first light of promise that is quietly, faithfully beginning to bloom in your life right now?